Podium versus wrap versus stacked flats isn't a design preference. It's a variance decision. It changes cost predictability, schedule risk, and parking feasibility, and yield. Today, I'm going to give you a practical tool, the Typology Decision Matrix, plus blunt if-then reset triggers. So this decision gets made deliberately, early, and defensibly. Here's the plan. First, what actually changes by typology. Second, the matrix you can use to choose. And third, the triggers that tell you when this decision becomes a reset level event. The decision that we're improving is which typology best protects the budget, schedule, entitlement feasibility, and yield given this site. Because if you delay this decision, you don't avoid risk, you concentrate it. And then it shows up later as a painful reset. The stakes are big because typology sits underneath everything. When typology is wrong for this site, your cost curve changes. Your schedule becomes less predictable. Your parking solution becomes fragile. And you quietly lose yield. And the most expensive resets happen when a late discovery forces a change in parking type or structural approach. That's why this is underwriting in disguise. The fix is a simple scoring tool, the Typology Decision Matrix, or TDM. We score podium, wrap, and stacked flats against underwriting-relevant criteria. Then we apply if-then triggers that force a reset level decision when the site constraints make a typology fragile. This tool doesn't replace professional judgment. It makes judgment visible and it keeps the team aligned. Let's be clear about what changes. By typology, you change your parking and your structure, which drives cost and constructability. You change schedule predictability. We're talking review loops, sequencing, long leads. Also, your yield and net to gross potential. How efficiently you can convert gross area into rentable area. You also change your civil and your site complexity, your stormwater, your grades, your access, your right-of-way improvements. And lease-up fit. So whether that product matches the comps and your resident expectations. So when people debate typology like it's taste, they miss the point. Typology is the platform that your performa rides on. Here are the criteria we score, each from 1 to 5. Higher is better. Entitlement fit, height, setbacks, review risk. Parking feasibility, ratio, type, and constructability. Cost predictability, your structure, your envelope complexity. Your schedule predictability, which is your review loops, your sequencing, your long leads. Your yield and net to gross potential. We're talking review capacity. And your civil impact, stormwater, grades, access, right-of-way work. Constructability logistics. So the staging, the crane access, site constraints. And last, lease-up fit versus your comps. So this is your product expectations. If you do nothing else, scoring forces the right conversion. Which choice reduces variance for this site? Now I'm going to show you the live matrix because it's easier to understand when you score a hypothetical site. So here's the matrix. We'll keep this fast. For this hypothetical site, we're going to talk about an entitlement fix. Let's say it's a wrap. Let's say wrap is strong, podium is possible, stacked flats are okay. Parking feasibility. If the ratio is high and the site is tight, podium might score higher than wrap. Next, we go to cost predictability. So stacked flats can score well when complexity is low. Podium can be predictable, but higher cost. And wrap depends on configuration. Your schedule predictability. So the options with more review sensitivity or complex sequencing get lower scores. your yield versus net to gross. We score based on efficiency potential, given cores, circulation, and constraints. Your civil impact and constructability. So constrained sites often penalize fragile staging assumptions. Your lease up fit. So we're going to score the product against the comp set expectations. Now look at the totals. This isn't decide for you, but it makes the trade-offs explicit. Now, the most important part, the if-then triggers. If parking shifts to podium or structured, then treat it as a reset decision. Because once parking type changes, structure and massing often change with it. If height and setbacks force perfect efficiency, then expect yield risk. That's when projects quietly lose net to gross and the deal starts leaking. If civil or right-of-way scope is heavy, then favor predictability over complexity. Fragile schemes fail when the site work is already demanding. If your schedule window is tight, then avoid options with high review iteration risk because subjective cycles can add months even when the drawings are good. So not every change is a problem. Unowned changes are a problem. Trade rules keep pressure from turning into drift. Here's 3 examples you can actually use. Trade optimal amenity area before you trade unit mix. Trade finish upgrades before you trade parking type. Trade minor facade articulation before you trade structural complexity. The point is not the specific list. The point is having a list. Because if you don't decide what you trade first, you'll decide the wrong thing when the pressure hits. Here's how you run this. It's a quick 45-minute workshop. In 10 minutes, confirm the site constraints that drive typology, your parking, setbacks, heights, civil scope, staging. Hopefully we found this out in SF04. 20 minutes, you score the matrix together. The owner, the architect, the civil, and your cost input if you've got it. The next 10 minutes, you apply the triggers and you name the trade rules. Last 5 minutes, you decide the typology and you publish it as a source of truth. That meeting prevents weeks of debate and months of redesign. In our next episode, MF07, we're going to talk about efficiency by design. So this is your unit mix, your net to gross, and where projects quietly lose yield. Because once typology is chosen, the next question is, where does yield leak and how do we protect it early before it's expensive to fix? So remember, typology is underwriting in disguise. Choose it to reduce variance, not to win a debate. Use the matrix to make trade-offs visible. Use if-then triggers to prevent late resets. And publish the decision so that the team isn't relitigating it every month. Then move to Multifamily 07 and quality efficiency because that's where projects quietly lose yield. If you want the typology design matrix and the if-then triggers, grab the download, run the 45-minute workshop before your next schematic push.